The evacuation of thousands of eastern districts of Aleppo's residents began on Thursday, an international aid group and opposition activists said, starting the first phase of a deal that would end the brutal fight for Syria's largest and arguably most important city. Ines Sedki, spokeswoman for the international community for the Red Cross, confirmed that workers from both the Syrian Arab Red Crescent and the Red Cross were inside eastern Aleppo's neighborhoods. There are 10 ambulances and they are going in to get the wounded out in phases today, which are anywhere between 200 and 250 people, she said in a phone interview from Damascus. After the wounded were evacuated, she said, civilians would be given the choice of staying in place or leaving as well. Central Combat Media, a media arm of the Lebanese Shiite group and staunch ally of Syrian President Bashar Assad, said the first wave of evacuees had departed Aleppo. Dr. Salim Abu Nasser, a dentist in eastern Aleppo, also confirmed in a phone call that people had begun to leave. Fighters would also be allowed to leave their enclave in Aleppo, which at one time covered more than half the city but which in recent weeks has quickly dwindled to a mere square mile of territory. Syrian state news operator Sana reported earlier on Thursday that all preparations and procedures for the exit of the terrorists and their families from 4 East Aleppo districts had been completed, employing the government's routine description for the rebel factions pitted against President Bashar Assad. A resident in East Aleppo, Dia Absi, said he and others would be given safe passage to neighboring Idlib. The province is controlled by a coalition of hardline Islamist factions, the Army of Conquest, which includes the former al-Qaeda affiliate, the Front for the Conquest of Syria. Both government and opposition media estimate the number of those departing to be approximately 15,000 people. The deal, if successful, marks the conclusion of one of the most devastating conflicts of the Syrian civil war, which has killed hundreds of thousands and left much of the country in ruins. Aleppo, once the mainstay of Syria's economy, has seen large swaths of its industrial areas obliterated, with thousands of its residents buried under the rubble of buildings destroyed by airstrikes and shelling. But the takeover by loyalist troops, which include militiamen from Lebanon, Iraq, Iran and Afghanistan fighting alongside army soldiers, also delivers Damascus its most significant victory since the beginning of the uprisings, almost 6 years ago. The last-minute breakthrough comes after a surge of international outrage regarding the fate of the estimated 50,000 people hiding inside 1 square mile of eastern Aleppo, all that remains of the rebels' bastion, which in 2013 included more than half the city. Surrounded from all sides and facing certain defeat at the hands of loyalist forces, those who remain have refused to exit to government-controlled areas, fearing they would be detained and either punished or forcibly conscripted. A similar arrangement on Wednesday had fallen through, along with a ceasefire that was to take effect as a prelude to the rebels' exit. As fighting resumed, tortuous negotiations between Damascus, Iran,